he never talked about his artwork.
He would mention occasional things like, I brought this book from my children when they were younger, but not much, no.
I remember him mentioning once that he had like a wife and kids.
And that was it?
That's pretty much it.
Howard shared his work with me and said, I'm never going to show it, I'm never going to show it, I'm never going to show it.
In an article by the Chicago Tribune, it stated that Jewish peddlers in the 1880s had developed a market on Maxwell Street, which is located south of Roosevelt Road on either side of Halsted Street. This area bursted with cultural diversity of Slavics, Germans, Jews, Greeks, and Italians. These ancient flea markets is where Howard's grandfather first established Harry's Shoes in 1903. Howard's father and uncle opened up a ladies' shoe store, Luann's Shoe, in 1957, and this is where Howard worked at on and off until leaving to pursue a career as an art teacher in 1984.
For those 4 years that I worked full-time at Luann's Shoes, as I worked hand in hand with my father, as we talked Yiddish together, exchanging secrets while the customers were there.
To be for 4 generations in one business is quite rare and unusual, given, that this is, most Americans around his age are the product of immigrants, either first generation, second generation, or third generation, so they've lived through turmoil, they've lived through world wars, and you wouldn't necessarily expect to see that continuity in 4 generations.
He teaching me the trade and discussing life with me, and I discussing my life with him, and we really bonded during those 4 years.
Especially at holiday times, it was actually a warm feeling to be there with the family.
Howard Schwartz was an art teacher at Glenbard West from 1984 to 2014. He has a master's in fine arts and a master's in arts from the University of Wisconsin in Madison. After his mother passed away, his father had been very lonely, so Howard stayed at home with his father and got his teaching certificate to kill time. Howard never fully intended to be a high school art teacher and originally wanted to teach at a college level.
I would say my father, too, who didn't know anything about art, was very encouraging. And he told me, don't worry about making a living. He said, cross that bridge when you come to it. Just do what you enjoy doing. I always appreciated that advice. In those days, Christa, it wasn't like today. They basically gave a teacher a room and said, good luck.
Here are some students that had fond memories of Mr. Schwartz in his art class.
I took drawing 1.
I took drawing 1.
I took drawing 1 from Mr. Schwartz.
It was very serious, like he knew what he was talking about and he wanted to teach kids how to do art correctly.
I feel like Mr. Schwartz taught the art class in a way that any student could understand.
He taught us a lot in the attic, so we would all get like a chair and go back there and we'd all huddle around this whiteboard. And he would draw weird shaped apples, and then he would actually show us like how to draw things, and we'd be like, oh, like that's why.
It was different than any other art class I've taken.
I thought he did a really great job. I thought he had a really good job of inspiring students to push them to a higher level, to just try new things that maybe they wouldn't have ever tried before.
He was excited to tell me about the projects that he was doing with his kids. And they sounded leaps and bounds beyond what I ever learned as a high school student. It was college level work that he was teaching his kids.
What's the most important artistic advice Mr. Schwartz has given you?
I think the most important artistic advice Mr. Schwartz gave me is that things don't have to look like the things you're supposed to draw for them to be good.
And you can be different and it can still be beautiful.
I mean, it was just a pleasure. You come in and these were kids who, not just that you could do it, but that you seemed interested or at least willing to listen and were eager to learn. And I loved working with kids like that. I can't say that not equal to that was just the whole facility, working in the space. I loved working in the space. I loved working in a community of other teachers that I could discuss things that I was interested in. I mean, this was a wonderful career.
At the Spertus Institute for Jewish Learning and Leadership is Howard Schwartz's gallery, titled Maxwell Street to Milwaukee Avenue, painted portraits of a Chicago family in the shoe store business. This is open from August 30th to January 17th, as stated on the Spertus website.
I always liked history, and I always liked, old things. And I got an old photograph from my family when they were in Europe. It was the coolest thing. Wow, that's all that's left of this man is this one little photograph. I still use the photographs just as a jumping off point. So I would start to take photographs, images from the history that I was so interested in, and I would attach them to the surface of the painting that I was about to create. I seam it all together on the canvas. I create the composition that way. And then that's out of the way, and I could do anything I want. And I could scrape at the pictures, and I could pour on the pictures. I could paint over the faces or the images and give them more, make them look like they're painting. You don't know that they started out as photographed.
He incorporated things like the wallpaper from his family room into the pieces of his artwork. Signs from the shoe stores that his family worked at.
And it's the faces that give it the meaning to me. Though at the end there's no photograph showing it all, I'm able to capture the reality by starting out with that face.
He's made me appreciate the importance of maintaining family history and how that history kind of melds and sculpts who we are today. And that you can't just keep moving forward, you have to look back in order to know how to move forward to be a better person. And he has always taught me that.
We included a video of his father, when an interview that he did with his own father, talking about his experience.
He uses shoemaking a lot in the store?
Yes, because he used to, I remember one time he bought maybe 1,000, 2,000 pair of house slippers that were so damaged, so defective.
Yeah.
And he would take home each night, he would take home a box of a dozen or 15 or 20 and sit in the house and repair them.
You remember him in the house repairing?
Yes, I remember him in the house repairing the slippers.
Yeah.
He was also very good. I mean, in other words, if there was any damage or something, he knew how to fix things very well.
And I think that's something that people should really do, because it's a small window, and the window shuts and then the stories are gone.
I bought this huge photo album, and I would put all the photographs into the huge album with captions. Anyway, it evolved, and now I've got about 15 archival cases with 3-ring binders and all kinds of material in each one of those. So it took me from 2007 until, I don't know, about a year and a half ago to take everything that I have, like everything, and put it digital. And having them as the star performers in the paintings helps me to feel like they're still relevant. Even today. They're gone, they're deceased, but here they are. Here's a picture of them. They're on display. One day I will die, and these works are just going to be sitting there, and part of my purpose was to show these images and to share to keep these people relevant, like I said.